Hello and welcome back. Welcome back. We're feeling a little, what should we say? I don't want to say unmotivated and I don't want to say defeated. I don't feel it's to those extremes,
Sure.
but confused.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little confusion as to where maybe the next step or road is going to be with the podcast. So we're trying something different today. We have some subscribers. So we are trying it out with our subscribers first, and then potentially opening it up to like bigger episodes. But we're just going to talk through our week.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about what has gone on, what we've struggled with.
What's been
There
hard? What's
are
been good?
Yeah, there are some podcasts out there where people honestly just have dialogue and conversations and they do great. And I feel a little burnt out on trying to find mental health topics to talk about. So, but
Mm-hmm.
that's a better way to say it. I feel burnt out.
Yeah.
I also feel really burnt out. We're just going to go into it.
And here we go.
And scene. I feel really burnt out that this this season, so typically as a therapist, our busy season is from like October to March, like
Mhm.
beginning of March, right? Because I realistically think that people get to St. Patty's Day, it starts getting a little bit nicer out, and then people are like, okay, we can do this, right?
Yes.
But I feel like I did not feel like my January was bad this year. I feel like my end of February to now still continuing has been pretty bad for clients, not in the sense of like not getting clients, but that the acuity has been high.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been a lot, y'all. I love what
Mm-hmm.
I do. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I don't want to do anything else in my life. Besides probably be paid to be an influencer and shop. That would be, God, that's the dream, man. That'd be so
Dude, you
fucking,
have to live on fucking social
I
media, bro.
know.
I can't. Your
It'd be
personality could
so
do that.
cool.
Mine could
Yeah.
not.
I could because I would just put out my content would not be like A plus, but there'd be a lot of it. Like I could do it. But like I also would get super excited talking about things. Yeah, because I love shopping. I love clothes. God, I love clothes. Anyways,
Let me ask you something. Do
yeah.
you think that not nostalgia, do you feel like for you, the kind of excitement for the podcast has dwindled?
Yes.
Me too. Not that we don't want to
Yes.
do it, but like in the beginning, it was so new, right? Like think of a new
Mhm.
relationship. We had like a honeymoon period for the podcast where
Yeah.
the first
Yeah.
year, everything was so new and people were
Yeah.
so stoked
Yeah.
and topics came easily, whether it was because
Yeah.
people were giving them to us or because we had all of these topics on hand. And now year two, it's just felt a little bit different. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It has very much so felt different. And I think in my mind that I waffle back and forth between like, is this a forever thing or is this something that was something we did and it was awesome and we did like we were proud of what we did and now we're done, right? We're not going to keep holding on to a rope that's burning our hands versus just like the release and letting it go. I do love having a podcast. I love being able to tell people we have a podcast. I love being able to hear how it affects other people and our listeners. So I think too, with me saying like, I feel like our season has been shifted. I'm trying to hold space for that too, that maybe the reason there isn't as many topics or as much excitement or this or that, depending is because everybody's kind of going through a lot right now, right? If I know I'm feeling it as a therapist and I've got, I believe top-notch coping skills. I feel like I'm top tier of like taking care of myself and making sure that I'm a priority and I'm pouring into myself, but I definitely could see that maybe that could also be some of the reason playing in because it's been a difficult year.
And I wonder if this is just a time for us to reflect and switch gears, right? Like the point of chapter 2 was to have more guests on, which we did a shit ton in the beginning. Here's the reality of the situation, you guys. Mari and I are incredibly fucking busy individuals for different reasons, but also the same reasons between work and being a single mom, right? fitting in time to record while also simultaneously trying to find an opportunity to record with someone else and make all of our schedules work, it sometimes feels really impossible because
Mhm.
her and I have like one for sure day a week that we can record, and that's not always guaranteed. So to be
Mhm.
like, hey, we want to interview you, but we can only interview you on this date from this time to this
Time
time,
to this time,
right? Like
yeah.
that's not always easy for
And
people.
it's
So it's not like
usually
it
a
just fell
Friday
off.
night. Yeah, it's like
Yes.
usually a Friday night too. So then people are like, do I want to sacrifice my Friday
Correct.
night? So then there's that as well. I mean, I do still have, I want to do a follow-up financial with
Yes,
Steph,
that was
which we
requested.
have, which we have booked things that I know that she'd be able to do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put that out to her now that we're talking about it.
Write it out. Write it
I am
down.
right now, literally, book Steph with a PH.
But what I was going to say is maybe this is a time for us to reflect and maybe we switch up how we do episodes. Maybe it is more
Mhm.
about us being vulnerable and talking about our own life and what we go through versus always trying to, not that we're trying to be problem solvers, but that we're always trying
Sure.
to push content to teach people things. I think part of
Sure.
teaching people things is being honest about what we go through, because some of the stuff we can't share in therapy sessions, but
Well,
people
100%.
want to see us as human beings, which I get. I 100%
Sure.
get. So I don't know. I think this is just like a reflective time. You know, we talked about taking another break
Mhm.
for ourselves, and the break that we had before was successful. You guys didn't all leave us. You were super stoked for
Yeah.
us to come back, you know. I think as time goes on, we do get busier, and I think the chance of us becoming more exhausted and burnt out
Mhm.
becomes higher, right?
1000%.
And it
Especially
sounds,
if I'm dealing with high acuity in clients,
yes,
and that is, it's not just, it doesn't just end at a session, right? When you're
correct.
dealing with clients and you have high acuity, it's emails, it's trying to facilitate a higher level of care. It's, helping them get set up with med providers. Like it's not just therapy or being a therapist in that hour. It's also some case management, right? Of like trying to find some resources to help your client, trying to help them find different doctors or psychiatrists to be able to go to, or I give a shit ton of holistic, like vitamin supplements,
Mhm.
like acupuncture, chiropractor, like all of those. Like I give recommendations for that, with the caveat of that I am not a doctor. You take your
Correct.
vitamins at will or ask your doctor. But like it is so much more than just like, oh, you come in for an hour and then all of a sudden like you're done. I think maybe not I think, and maybe it could be a misconception. I was trying to think of that word real hard. It could be a misconception that we do just see people and then it drops off after that. Like I can't tell you how many times if I see a client, they're really struggling with something, how much I carry that throughout my day,
Mhm.
and like through the following days of like making sure that they're okay or wanting to, but then also reminding myself I have to have boundaries. I have to keep, my guidelines in place. I have to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, and like no amount of me worrying about that person is going to make the situation better or worse.
Correct.
So like, reminding myself of that. But then I see upwards of 25 different people a week
Mhm.
at minimum. So it's like, now multiply that worry potentially by 10, maybe 11, depending on what's going on with the clients. And then it's like, okay, I've got to compartmentalize all of that and then go into, recording and attempting to be a problem solver, teaching and things like that. And so maybe that is the next shift of being more vulnerable about
Mhm.
our lives.
Well, and I just want
And
to
the
be
things we
clear,
go
because I think
through.
this is a perception that a lot of people have. We don't just sit and listen to people. That's not what our
No, God,
entire
no.
job is. I think people are like, oh, you just sit and talk and listen to people all day. Like,
Yeah, I could talk for hours.
what?
No.
There's so much that goes into one therapy session
Yeah.
that people don't see and they don't realize. And this isn't I'm not trying to get pity from people of like, oh my God, it must be so
No.
exhausting. That's what I'm saying. I'm just being real with you of like, I have to be on point in listening to everything that they say so I can internalize all that information and try to help problem solve a situation, try to help give
Mhm.
guidance, try to help give tools, things like that. Like it takes a lot to,
This is also a sparkling water. Okay, nobody come for me.
yeah, I mean,
It
mine's a
looks like
highball, so it's not a White Claw.
well,
So
no, and mine is the shape of a White Claw can. That's why I was like, it is.
yeah,
It was like it's sparkling water from Aldi's.
she put vodka in it before
Practicing
we came on here. I'm just kidding. She did.
practicing my influencer. Sparkling water from Aldi's.
Do a taste test. Please don't. I don't want to hear you swallow. I don't want to hear you swallow.
I love the cherry lime. Sorry, I derailed us.
Oh my God. This feels better than having to think of something to talk about, to be quite honest.
100% it feels better because we're just talking. But I will say, to your point of that people potentially could think that it is just listening. It is, there are at least per session 3 topics that clients want to discuss on average. If I'm averaging my clients, say I've got a 10 session day, so 10 hours I am client facing, having a mask in the sense of professionalism, boundaries, things like that. Not in a mask that I show up as a completely different person, but like who I am in my personal life is not who I'm presenting as a therapist. It's just not. I paid for my degree for a reason. I'm going to fucking use it. So there, so 10 sessions, 3 topics a piece, and problem solving those topics, because I verbalize this. I am an action therapist. So I'm not the therapist you come and just dump on. We're going to work on things. So then I'm giving, so those 3 topics plus a skill, plus potentially challenging cognitive errors. I'm doing over 500 things in that 10-hour day, not to mention follow-up emails, follow-up phone calls, invoicing, depending on what it is. Like it's a lot. I would not have it any other way. It's a lot. So maybe a good place to take this is then how do we handle that it's a lot? How do we decompress after those days? I will say that on Mondays and Tuesdays, my decompression looks like coming home, putting my stuff away, getting set. Like, so to be more specific, because this was a hit when I did it on my Instagram stories. For me, in the way that my brain functions, and it doesn't have to be specific to just ADHD, but that is how my brain functions. When I come home, I hang my coat up right away. I take my work bag. I still have my shoes on. I take my work bag. I put my work bag down. I plug my laptop in. I put my planner out on the desk along with my pens. I take a pencil out so that it is easy to access in case people are changing their schedules or whatnot. I put my work bag down. Usually I don't have to take anything out of the work bag besides my planner. I then go unpack my lunchbox and put everything right by the sink, put my lunchbox away right away, rinse out anything. Usually if I have a protein shaker, I put water in that immediately because it'll smell horrible by the morning. And then that's when I go back to my office, take my shoes off, go change into my pajamas, wash my face right away, brush my teeth right away. Because again, if this is a 10-hour day, I've already eaten dinner at work. Brush my teeth right away. I get in bed, maybe allow myself to scroll 20 to 30 minutes, but then I read. And I read in bed until my eyelids feel heavy, and then I put it away and I go to bed. That's my decompression. It doesn't involve, most of those 2 days usually are, so it's Monday always. So then if I don't have Sophia on Mondays, so I offer Jeff maybe 5 minutes of me of like, how was your day? Please don't say anything wrong.
Because I hope it wasn't stressful, because I don't have it in me to process it with you.
Well, but then here's the thing. If it is, I'm absolutely going to say, before I preface this, like, I've had a long day. It's been a lot. This is what I'm struggling with. I want to be there for you. I just don't have it in me right now. I don't have the space. Like I would love to talk about this more tomorrow, or blah, 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 blah. Or like, I'll sit there and listen and say, I absolutely can listen and offer like validation or support. I just can't problem solve right now, which usually he doesn't need problem solving. And like rarely, if ever, does he need anything. It's me more so giving it because I don't think he'll ask for it. And then Tuesdays when I have to get Soph, I preface if she gets in the car, if it's been a long day, I'm like, hey, it's been a long day. I'm just letting you know in case I'm short or anything like that. And then on the way home, I'll ask her how school was, like what happened, whatever. And she'll usually talk for a little bit, and then we'll get home and I'll literally do the same exact routine, but in the additive of getting her ready for bed as well. Like we do our routine together. So we brush our teeth together, wash our face together, do all of that and set ourselves up for success, sometimes pick our outfit, but like having those regimented things that I know that I look forward to, that's setting myself up for success for the next day, because I'm already like pre-doing what I need to do, of like making sure my laptop's charged, making sure my appointment book is accessible, making sure that, you know, my stuff is put away so it's not like this chaos or clutter that I wake up to in the morning. That's how I rest and recharge on the busiest days. Because already in the morning, I'm giving to myself before I give to anybody else. I'm working out, I'm doing a goal or a gratitude, depending on what it is. Kind of been getting away from writing my goals every day and just writing gratitudes as the day goes on or as I have time, because the morning has been really filled with Peloton classes, an attempt to get to milestones before I go to New York and do the classes live. So that's taken precedence, but that is a goal of mine. That is a dream. Like that is I could say life goal. That is a life goal of mine, to be able to go in person and do those things. So I know that I'm living those goals every day. That makes sense.
Is that what you were talking about when you were trying to sign up for classes?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, I didn't know. I don't know how that shit works. So I was like, is this what you do?
Yeah. So they drop. So 6 weeks from 6 weeks from today is, well, okay. The classes drop on Thursdays and they go live at noon New York time, which is 11 our time. So they drop the weekend 6 weeks from now. So ours was 2 Thursdays ago, and you have to keep refreshing and whatever. And sometimes you get put into a virtual queue, and sometimes it lets you write in. And then classes literally fill up like that. Like
I'm sure.
the one time when we did a practice run, there was 3,500 people in front of me in line. So I was like, but we signed up and we got classes. So I'm so excited. Yeah. Anyways, so that's how I manage when it's been heavy for me. What about you?
I have a very similar routine. What's different between my day and Mari's day is that I have my son every single day and I have to pick him up from school. So there's a break in my work day, Tuesday through Friday. Well, Friday I don't work. His dad picks him up on Mondays, thankfully. But, you know, I work from 9 to 1. I go get him from school. I get him home. I get him a snack. I take all of our lunch stuff. I pack both of our lunches for the next day, that day.
Love that.
I'll pick out his clothes for the next day and put him in the bathroom. My workout clothes are already picked out because I do that in the morning. And then I likely have sessions anywhere between like 4 and 6 p.m. So he just has to like keep himself occupied. Like, it is what it is. What I struggle with the most in those situations, if it's been a long day and he's had a rough day, or if like something happened with a friend or he's gotten in trouble and then he wants to process, I feel terrible, but I'm like, I don't have it in me for all of this right now. And I feel like shit because he should come before anybody. Right. But like if he brings stuff up at 8 p.m. when bedtime is 8:30, and I'm like, okay, so now we have to process this at 8 p.m. and you're gonna go to bed sad, and like all these thoughts run through my head. I do it and I process it with him, but there are times that it doesn't go as well as expected. And I think that my way to decompress is unfortunately similar to like avoidance, where I'll just get lost in a book, or him and I will watch Impractical Jokers on the couch, and I just kind of like, I'm just there. I don't really know how active I'm being. I'm trying not to use my brain very much because I've used it so much. I try to stay off social media, but it's also like my time to be on social media because I've been off it all day. But I notice that if I get on it and I'm just getting irritated, I'm like, bitch, put your phone down. Like, this is not helping you. You're just, you're getting more mad. So just put it down. You know, there's still sometimes that little voice in my head when I get a notification of like, you have to respond. No, I don't.
Yeah. Yes.
Because here's the thing, I might respond sometimes and it might be taken the wrong way because I'm not in the mood. So I'd rather not respond than say something that's going to be portrayed as like rude or disrespectful.
100%.
Or like I don't care or whatever.
100%. I also utilize you to decompress. Like if 100%. I'm struggling with a client or something, like we'll talk back and forth about it, or just kind of talk about some of the wild things that we encounter throughout the day and sessions.
Yes.
Or like I'll send you funny memes or like videos or things that I found that, because I think they're fucking hilarious.
Yes.
So I'm like, well, this will offer us a laugh or two. But realistically, I think that potentially this shift and us talking about, I don't know if it's going to be maybe every time, like processing through our week or things that we, the successes or the pitfalls, or maybe it might be something like that, like the successes, the oof, I should have done something differently. But definitely looking at that. And maybe shifting towards that more real, raw, vulnerable. We did say, didn't we say buckle up, bitches, or something? Yeah, so buckle up.
You want to know what we're really like? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here we fucking go.
Put that 5-point harness on, bitch. Let's go. So
I guess two positive things that are going to happen for me is I get to go meet some babies. So I'm super excited to hold a baby. I'm going to go meet Sarah's baby today.
Oh, okay. I was like, where are you picking up babies from?
And then my friend Missy, whose son was born on Bug's birthday. I finally get to meet my fucking nephew, who's 5 months old at this point. So
this is so exciting.
I haven't had a baby.
A good variety of babies too. One's going to be like full-fledged baby, and one's going to be like
itty bitty.
Yeah. Well, that's what I meant by full-fledged baby. The other one's like, like not a toddler, but like, it has personality, at 5 months old, you're doing some stuff.
Yeah, you're giggling and you're aware.
The full-fledged baby, like you're just fresh out of the womb. Like you are.
And I just get to hold him, and I fucking love holding babies. So I was like, Bug, do you want to hold him? He was like, no. I was like, really? He's like, nope. I was like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, fair enough. Enough. Bug probably has 14 germs on him from school anyways, from
1,000,000%.
Plethora of dirty children. And I don't mean that in the sense of that there's dirty kids and then our kids.
Like,
because kids are dirty.
Schools. Yes.
Kids are dirty.
Yes.
Kids are absolutely dirty.
When I had Bug, CJ's girlfriend at the time, she was 19, and he was the first baby she ever held in her life.
Oh my God.
I started babysitting when I was 10. Who thought a 10-year-old babysitter was a good idea is beyond me.
I'm sorry. Back off.
I was 10 years old, and I babysat for our neighbor. So I was 10, and I think the mom was like 30, and she had a baby, and she wanted to like go out and kick it. So I would babysit. Like my mom was right next door, but I was in the house with her baby alone.
I babysat a kid for like an hour and a half when I was 12, and he was
9 p.m. to 2 a.m.
No, he was like, he was a baby. Maybe it was longer than an hour and a half. Maybe it was like 2 hours. But when I tell you, I was terrified. I couldn't put him down. I was terrified that he was crying. I think I gave him a popsicle. I'm not kidding.
Dude,
it melted on the counter and stained, because I think that they said his teeth are coming in. So he just used it to like rub on his gums, and he wouldn't stop crying. And in my 12-year-old brain, I was like, well, you can't put him down when they're crying. You can't do that. And I was like, how am I supposed to? I think when we watched him too, he rolled off the bed at my mom's house.
When I was 13 or 14, I was in like 8th grade, I think. I babysat for my dad's friend, and their son was developmentally disabled, like pretty severely, like nonverbal. And he was also really, really big and strong. That was the scariest thing. Like he broke a big screen TV with a hockey stick. He would bite me. Like it was, what I think it did? It prepped me for working at Rogers.
Oh, it absolutely did. You were like, this is nothing.
This is familiar to me. I've done this before.
Kid just spit on me and tried to break my finger. Babes.
Dude, we could do a whole series on what it was like working in a fucking psychiatric hospital. That's for sure.
Maybe we should.
We have lots of stories. That's for fucking sure.
We should.
We used to joke about writing a book about like shit the kids would say, because they would say some funny shit.
They absolutely would. I still think to this day that I might write a book about waitressing.
You should.
I absolutely think that I should, because people are fucking wild.
That's why I could never do it.
That's why I don't do it anymore. Anyways, well, I feel better already.
Right? Welcome to Steph and Mari's weekly therapy session with the world.
Maybe that's what the PS episode will morph into. We'll just make them free for people to listen to. Bitch. I'm just kidding. It's not going to be bitching, guys. It's really not. Stay tuned. Maybe it will be. No,
we're just showing you what the reality of being a mental health provider and podcaster and human being looks like.
1000%. So you can catch us on social. Who knows if there'll be an updated post or not, but you can catch us at Steph is the spooky therapist. I am at BEA_XO11. We are at Rewriting Her Story Podcast And then I was going to say podcast@gmail.com. You can email us.
Yes.
Any questions, concerns, comments, topics at rewritingherstorypodcast@gmail.com. And then you can find us on that YouTube thing at Rewriting Her Story Podcast, where you can see my introduction to being an influencer. Cherry lime. I don't even know where my mic is
Influencer
anymore.
and ASMR provider.
Yeah. Oh my God, I really could do ASMR, no problem.
Oh my
Thought
God.
I saw a spider. Anyways. Squirrel. Until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.